So finally, Walt Disney World is set to reopen this Saturday. But let's discuss and analyse all of the latest safety measures that are being put into place that form Disney's new normal in terms of park operations. So let's dive into all of that up next. Hi there Waltoneers, I'm Jack and this is of course DSMI Newscast, and before we get started for today, I just want to say that this is going to be my last video regarding the different social distancing and health and safety measures with the reopening of all the different Disney parks. As after all, from a news perspective, there's only so much you can say about the different social distancing stickers before it starts to get a little tedious. So instead of just trying to spin this out into multiple videos just for the sake of it, I'm going to highly recommend checking out the Resort TV 1 for their live stream coverage, so therefore you can walk along inside the parks along with them and see what the different measures look like inside the parks. So I'm going to leave links down below to those two channels for you to go ahead and subscribe and check out all of their latest content. But anyways, with that being said, let's get straight into the topic. As this Saturday, July 11th, the Magic Kingdom and Disney's Animal Kingdom will officially reopen to the public once again, and they'll be followed by Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios on Wednesday, July 15th. However, despite those being the official reopening dates, Disney has been holding cast member and annual pass holder previews, where we received our first look at this new normal for Disney park operations, which will most likely be in place until some undisclosed date within 2021, as these measures will be re-evaluated regularly and adjusted accordingly. But before we get started, I just want to address two things. And that's first of all, and most importantly, we are of course still in the middle of a global pandemic, with Florida recording all-time high counts of new coronavirus cases, surpassing 10,000 new cases a day. So there is an argument that can understandably be made that Disney parks and theme parks in general should not open, as they are not an essential business. However, for the economy of Orlando, which revolves around tourism and the themed entertainment industry, the reopening of these Disney parks is essential in ensuring that the local economy does not fall into a state beyond disrepair. As despite companies like Disney being able to weather these tougher economic storms, the temporary closure of their business has much larger effects on the macroeconomics of Orlando and the surrounding areas. And even Disney would not be able to pay 70,000 cast members for an indeterminate amount of time without seeing new revenue generated. And the other big factor is Florida's unemployment pay will end for many furloughed cast members at the end of July, so Walt Disney World's reopening is much more complicated than it first seems. But the other thing that should also be taken into consideration is that there is a bubble of control that Disney can enforce. As with the huge array of safety protocols and procedures that Disney has outlined, and we'll get to in this video, it means that in many ways, being inside the Disney bubble will be much safer than most other public shopping and dining venues at the moment, as Disney is able to strictly enforce certain policies and has control over the capacity and cleanliness procedures. So with all that being said, now let's discuss the different measures being implemented to make the Disney park experience as safe as it possibly can be in the midst of a pandemic. And so to begin, the first thing is that these parks will be operating at a reduced controlled capacity level, and these new capacity restrictions have led to the temporary postponement of park hopping with the introduction of the new Disney Park Pass reservation system, and the postponement of FastPass Plus as well, with the additional queue space used for FastPass being assigned to physical distance standby queues. But then we come to the one safety measure that will have the single biggest impact on preventing the spread of COVID-19, and that is Disney's mandatory requirement to wear a face covering throughout the entire day on Disney property, with the only exception obviously being that you can remove the covering whilst eating or drinking, or when you are in one of the designated relaxation zones, which are usually very large open air spaces with controlled capacity with social distancing, and guests can take some time to remove a mask without having to buy food or drink, which is actually a suggestion I made back in May before it was officially announced, as these relief areas are definitely necessary in the hot and humid Florida climate. But without a shadow of a doubt, the use of these face coverings throughout the park experience will not only protect other guests, but it will also protect the health of the cast members as well who make the magic possible. And I'm also very happy to see that cast members in high traffic areas are wearing face shields, along with face coverings as another line of protective equipment. Although, just to summarise this face covering section, the reason why Disney is requiring face coverings is because the numerous scientific studies and also the official advice from the Centre of Disease Control that show the dramatic impact that face coverings have on the containment of the virus's bioaerosol particles from spreading throughout close proximities such as queue spaces and indoor venues. And then we get to other measures such as social distancing markers and the plexiglass barriers. As first of all, I was openly critical of the inconsistency found with the design language of these markers at Shanghai Disneyland and at Disney Springs. But now with the opening of the US Disney parks, Disney has actually done an excellent job in using a consistent design approach to these markers that now dictates where you should stand instead of confusing the matter with where you cannot. And all of these social distancing markers and reminders can be found everywhere, from the parking lots to the TTC, and then throughout the show areas, retail locations and attraction queues. And speaking of the queuing experience, Disney has actually installed plexiglass barriers throughout most attraction queues that offer another degree of protection in close proximity. And this can also be seen on the transportation as well, such as the limitation of 5 or 6 groups per bus in different sections of the bus, and these new dividers being installed within the compartments on board the monorail, where there will only be 1 group per bench. But then once you arrive at the park, there will be temperature checks. Although, as I've stated in the past, I feel that this is more of a form of security theatre, as a majority of COVID carriers are asymptomatic, and so temperature checks don't serve much purpose, which once again highlights the need for face coverings to be used throughout the park. However, the concern I had surrounding the cross-contamination with the bag checks has thankfully also been addressed, as Disney has integrated new X-ray scanners like this system here that is at Disney Springs, with it being developed by a company called Evolve, which can detect weapons and dangerous objects and materials, whilst your personal items can remain in your bag whilst going through the scanners, and it can also measure for the temperatures as well. But those aren't the only changes, as Disney has also fully embraced contactless transactions and entry. It's not only are mobile payments like Apple and Google Pay now supported, but the biometric fingerprint scanner is now not required, as obviously it's an unnecessary touchpoint that would need to be wiped down. And throughout the parks you'll see a new team introduced called the Incredicrew, which will be a team of cast members who will be going around and asking guests to adhere to the requirements and trying to make social distancing fun for all ages. And there will also be plenty of Disney character cavalcades and sightings throughout the parks that keep this Disney magic alive whilst protecting the cast and the guests alike. And then lastly, Disney has increased hygiene procedures dramatically with frequent wipe downs of high-touch, high-traffic areas and surfaces, along with hand sanitizer stands at the entrance and exit of the attractions. And also numerous wash stations will be found around the parks to make public cleanliness as easy as possible. However, how could I end this video without talking about the near completion of the Cinderella Castle transformation, as this project is to mark the 70th anniversary of the movie's release in 1950. As when the concept art was released back in February, I was away on holiday, so I couldn't cover it in a video, but I've been waiting to see the finished product before talking about it. And in all honesty, my first impressions could be summarised as
I like it, but not a lot. I don't like it.
And the reason for that is that it hasn't turned out like what was promised in the concept art, as the concept art used this original photo of the castle and had added some gold embellishments and darker blue turrets. But now we can see in these photos the castle has been painted a salmon pink colour, with bright blue turrets and gold embellishments. And when you take this salmon pink and put it close to a gold colour, it doesn't create a very good contrast, and instead it becomes rather blurred. And so yes, I might be in the minority when it comes to opinions on this transformation. But another reason why I don't like the colour scheme is more to do with the fact that I believe that every castle should look unique and different, and it seems that Disney is wanting to create a homogenisation of all of the castles, so that it looks uniform with the castle introduced introduction at the beginning of every Disney movie. But then again, the harsh Florida sun will bleach it eventually in the next couple of months, and it will end up hopefully looking a little bit lighter and similar to Cinderella Castle, rather than Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland. But now, it's over to you, the Waltoneers. I would like to know, what are your thoughts and opinions on this new Cinderella Castle transformation at Walt Disney World? And also, what do you think about all the different safety measures being implemented at Walt Disney World? Do you think they go far enough? And if not, what would you like to see Disney implement to make an even better experience? And of course, don't forget to put the timestamp for where the hidden Mickey appeared somewhere in this video, along with your suggestion or your comment, to be in a chance to win one of these official DSY Newscast enamel pins. And congratulations to this Waltoneer here for winning this suggestion from a previous video, where we were discussing the different attractions that are rumoured to be under consideration for some small changes. And so that's it for today, so be sure to go ahead and subscribe down below if you're new to this channel, hit that notification icon so that you always receive an update, and also if you enjoyed today's video, then be sure to give this video a massive thumbs up, as it really does help this channel out. And I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.